Today we're going to be building a bike stand. All the ones I built in the past have been complete crap, like they've all been horrible. So yeah, today you'll need 3 8-foot planks and 1 2x4. That's pretty much all you'll need. So yeah, let's get to it. One other thing you'll need is a metal L clamp that you can find at a hardware store, and also this bike wall clamp off Amazon. Link is in the description. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut one of your 8-foot planks in half, so it's 4 feet. So you get 2 4-foot planks. Once you have your 2 4-foot planks laid out, you're going to want to grab your 2x4 and line them up just under as shown in the video. Once they are lined up, you're going to want to take out a drill and start drilling the plank into the beams. I'm using 2.5-inch screws right here. Once you're done drilling the beams in, you're going to want to flip the board over and measure how long you're going to need to cut your next beams to go under the board. When you get them cut and they're fitting nicely, you're going to want to flip the board back over and drill them in. Once you finish drilling everything in, you're going to want to take out your measuring tape and get a measurement halfway through the board, so that's where the actual stand is going to go, so your board is nice and centered. Once you're ready to cut your last 8-foot beam, you're going to want to cut it around 5 feet tall. That's a good height for a bike stand. You can always do it a bit longer if you want to. The next step is probably the hardest, but it's not that hard. You're going to want to take the 5-foot beam and put it on the back right where you marked your 2x4, so that way you can drill it right in the back. This takes a bit to align, and right here I'm using a ladder to hold up the 5-foot beam, but it just takes a bit to get it ready and aligned. But once you have it aligned, you just have to drill it in, and it works really well. This is probably the hardest step of the build, but once you get it done, it feels very satisfying. I ended up putting 3 screws right in the back of it because I think that allowed it to be very sturdy, and it was really good. And yeah, so you just have to drill them in, and once they're all in, that's probably the hardest step of the build, and it just gets easier from there. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the final 3-foot plank. You're going to want to cut it down just a bit. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't really matter the size. You're just going to want to tape it right under where the actual stand will go, so that way when you're drilling in the L clamp for stability, the screws will have something to go through, so that way it won't just be going through the thin sheet of plywood. This next part, you're going to take out that little L clamp you have, and you're going to want to drill it into the stand. It provides lots of stability for when there's actually a bike up there. So yeah, you're just going to drill it in, and it's going to work really well. And you can see right here is why we taped that little piece of wood on the bottom of it, because these screws are going into that piece of wood acting as support. When you're going to drill the upper part of the L clamp, you're going to want to put the stand against the wall because it provides lots of stability when you're pushing against the actual back of the stand. So personally, I found that my stand was a bit still wobbly, so I went and got another L clamp that made it a lot more sturdy, and it's way better now. So the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take out that 3 feet, or it doesn't have to be exactly 3 feet, but just a little scrap wood you have left, and you're going to use your saw to measure 2 45-degree angles to create a brace for the actual bike stand to make it very, very sturdy. So once you have it cut out and it fits well, you might have to do some modifications to make sure it's fitting nice and snug, but once it fits well, you're probably going to want to put the bike stand back up against the wall, so that way you can put some screws in, so that way your bike stands very, very sturdy. And you're also going to want to put a screw in the bottom of the brace. And now you are done with the brace, so all you have to do is mount the clamp from here. Okay, so at this point you're done with the build of everything and you're ready to mount your clamp. This clamp's from Amazon and the link is in the description. If you don't want to buy it mounted, you can always like put 2 wood beams across, but I don't really recommend that because it's way easier to use, and it's also just way nicer in general. So yeah, let's mount it. So at this point you're done with all the braces, and all you have to do is mount the actual clamp. So you want to put the bike stand up against the wall because it makes it a lot easier when you push against it. And you're going to want to align the clamp, and then you're going to want to stick a pencil through so you know where your mark is, so that way when you take it off you can drill your pilot hole, and then you're going to put it back up to where you had it, and then you're going to put in all 4 of the screws so it's very, very sturdy. And this is the last step of build, so after this it's complete. Okay, so that's it for this bike stand. It's very, very solid and I really like it. So you can build it yourself too. Just follow the steps and subscribe and like for more sick videos. See you next time.